What's up, guys and gals? It's Griever back here, bringing you guys Ayakashi Triangle Chapter number 43. And once again, this is pushing the limits of Shonen Jump. This is pushing the Ichi limits. And once again, not that I necessarily mind them, but I just don't know how they're getting away with it. I really, really don't. Because I'm telling you right now that most of this chapter I can't use for thumbnails. So what does that tell you? You know, like, I didn't exactly go on Shonen Jump 18 plus, you know. I went on Shonen Jump. So how it's possible, I have no idea. But once again, this chapter in a similar vein. But I need to praise this chapter for one key thing. One real key thing is the idea that we might finally get a plot that lasts us more than a villain of a week, two-parter. And that's fantastic. We haven't had anything more than Villain of the Week. That has been this story. And that has been fine for the most part, but up to 40 chapters now, very frustrating. Like, where's the start of a real plot? Where's the start of an overall story arc with an antagonist and such? This might be an Ichi manga, it might have romantic comedy elements, but it's also a battle manga. It's still under that demographic and therefore requires some antagonists, long-standing antagonists, not just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Villain of the Week. And even in that sense, in Power Rangers, we still at least had, you know, Rita and Lord Zed, you know, so, and there doesn't seem to be any of that here, and that's very frustrating. So, but in this chapter, we are finally getting something that I've been crying about, that I've been wanting for a very long time, and it's Matsuri's mother here is telling all about when they first cracked open the Dust King, the Ghost King of Dust or whatever, when they cracked him open and stuff like that, and, you know, it was an ancient Ayakashi, very dangerous and blah, 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 taken care of. It was also stated that the previous Ayakashi medium had actually sealed 3 other very powerful 150-year-old, of course, because that was the time she was alive, 150-year-old very powerful Ayakashi that potentially are up to no good. I mean, hence why she sealed them up. She sealed them up in separate rock formations that all 3 seem to now be broken, so they have been released. Now, they could be taking on any form, they could be hiding, they could be gaining, like, building an army. They have zero idea, and this finally feels like a little bit of a plot. We have the connection with the Ayakashi medium, the 3 sealed monsters, and I imagine we're not just going to go Chapter 44, Chapter 45, Chapter 46, and then done. Let's move on to the next. They're not going to go up and defeat all 3 in the next 3 or 4 chapters. I'm imagining that now we're finally starting to get some semblance of a long-standing antagonist, at least for a dozen or so chapters. At least a dozen or so chapters before all 3 of these are defeated. Please, for the love of God. If I had it my way, it'd be 40 to 50 chapters, but we'll just have to wait and see. That being said, Matsuri's mother does not seem too concerned about it, saying that they don't know their exact forms. We need to be on guard, but she's not taking it, you know, she's taking it sort of blasé, sort of nonchalantly. She even says that she could have asked Muga and them to, you know, Soga's father, could have even asked him, like, he could guide you kids and stuff and train you, and you'd all be probably fine under him. But I just wanted to come back and see how cute my, you know, son turned into a girl is. She's very odd. So either way, everybody leaves the house sort of idea, and even Suzu and stuff, and basically talks about all the potentials here. Like, Shirogane does not like or trust the leader of the Kanto group, being Matsuri's mother. Doesn't seem to really trust her. And, I mean, we can sort of understand why. She left on missions a lot. We do get a scene between the grandfather and the mother, basically saying, like, you know, but Matsuri always took to you more, always liked your company more. And he goes, yeah, well, he also enjoys Suzu's company even more than mine, so that's all fine and good. But remember, you've been away on missions for a very long time. When they were only in grade school, when they were only elementary school kids, you left for Tokyo. And, I mean, who knows the last time she's been back. Suzu, actually, this is Suzu's first meeting with her. So I'm assuming that his mother hasn't really shown up maybe once or twice since they were in elementary school. So maybe, and that's a big maybe, but clearly didn't stay very long if even Suzu has never met her before and this was their first meeting. So that being said, apparently by the looks of it, his mother actually asked her him asked Matsuri to come, or the intention was to take him with her out of the house, away from the grandfather, away from Suzu. And he said, no, I want to stay here with Suzu. So she even states later on that she doesn't really like Suzu very much because Suzu is the reason that Matsuri was not with her the whole time. So we're getting a little bit of that overprotectiveness feeling, going on with the mother. The mother is very odd. She's hot, but she's also a bit of a strange character. We're getting that sort of demeanor feeling where we don't know, is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? Is she intending to be a good guy, but one of those swords of justice sort of type of characters? Who really knows? Then we jump into the very, very R-rated scene. This isn't even PG-13. This is R-rated. We jump into a bath scene where, of course, Matsuri is, of course, taking a bath, and then the mother comes in and says, we're going to bathe together. We're both girls now, so it doesn't matter, and you can wash me and stuff. And, once again, how, I can't use any of this. Thank God I don't show panels anyway for copyright issues, but I wouldn't be able to show this whole half of a chapter because YouTube would take down any single one of these panels. Any single one as a thumbnail. Every single one. So I just, or even in context, it just wouldn't matter. So yeah, I don't know how they're getting away with it. So either way, sort of talks about the idea of using the cone and how the energy flows and how she was able to take over his wind so easily, that all of your cone energy is based on your spirit and your willpower. If it wavers, it's very easy to manipulate and take advantage of that. So you need to have a stronger will, a more sure of yourself willpower sort of idea. Sounding a little hockey based, but hockey's not the only power system that ever used the idea of strong willpower or energy flow and being able to center yourself and meditate and chi and ki and all that stuff. So it's not the first one to do it, so it's totally fine. But it is definitely interesting is that she explains it as though it wasn't because she's such a badass or your wind is very weak or anything. She says, no, you wavered. And it was a simple trick. It was a simple matter of taking over your wind. It was easy because your spirit, you're lacking in focus and concentration and keeping your will rock solid sort of idea. Now, she claims that they're going to start training and all of that stuff. And that's what they're sort of trying to do here. But that being said, they also talk about the fact that she sort of, Matsuri resembles her when she was a teenager and blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, I'm not going to stay a girl forever, so it's fine. But she then says, and this is actually a great thing to bring up, and I really enjoy this part because we've talked about this in previous reviews, but here it just makes total sense because we like to see Shirogane as a good guy. We like to think that he's grown on them and he appreciates them now and he wouldn't do anything nefarious to them anymore or backstab them. But that being said, the mother does not know this, and she brings up a very real thing. It's you're not going to be a girl forever, huh? So you're going to use Suzu's powers to revive Shirogane. And it even says, and you're going to have him undo the jutsu. You are risking reviving one of the most powerful, such a powerful Ayakashi. And we know Shirogane is powerful as hell. At full strength, he's strong as shit. And you are risking to revive this very powerful Ayakashi from right now where he's basically harmless. You're going to bring that force of nature back into the world, and you think he's just going to go, yeah, okay, I'll undo your jutsu, and then I'll leave you guys alone, and don't worry about me. Everything's cool now. It's sort of good point. You guys think it's all going to work up. You're all working up to this. Shirogane's only hanging around because the only way to get back to his true form is to do this, is to use Suzu's power to get back. But there are no guarantees. Shirogane at the beginning of the series was an enemy. This is just circumstance that has kept them together and kept him harmless. So there's really no evidence of this and stuff. And now they move on from this point, which sort of irks me because I would have liked to see more of the mother basically said, sort of elaborate on this a little more and really sink it in to Matsuri's head that this might not be your best course of action. Yeah, you want to get back to being a boy, but at what risk? Who are you risking just for the sake of swapping genders? You're alive, you're healthy, you still have your powers. And what potential risks It's one of those things. It's sort of be like if you went under for an operation, or let's say that you really wanted a six-pack. You really wanted to get in shape and you wanted a six-pack. But the doctors told you that doing sit-ups, crunches, any ab workouts would actually have multitude risks for your specific body, for a disease or whatever. I'm just trying to make an example here. And you were recommended that you don't need a six-pack. You can remain at a healthy figure for the right calories and blah, blah, blah. And you won't, there won't be health risks with that. But if you attempt to get a six-pack, the muscle tendons in your body are very fragile or whatever. And they basically tell you that there are a multitude of problems you could create by simply trying to get a six-pack. Now, do you need a six-pack? Well, no. No, you don't. My arms can be, this tiny, because I have tiny arms, right? Or they could be the size of Dwayne Johnson's. But if a doctor were to tell me there are so many risks in you attempting to get Dwayne Johnson arms, why would I, as a rather healthy as a horse human being, put myself through that risk? For what purpose? Why do I need such big arms? I don't need them to be healthy. I don't need them to live longer. They aren't a necessity. So what are you doing? Now, once again, this could be construed as being a little more serious than that, potentially. Of course, swapping genders when you don't want to is a big thing. But the amount of risks involved. And Matsuri's not only risking himself. It's not like, well, it's my life, I'll gamble. You could argue with that with the six-pack and the arms thing. You could say, well, it's my body, my life, my choice. I will risk it. Sure, fine dandy. But Shirogane being revived is not just a risk to Matsuri. It's a risk to Suzu. It's a risk to everybody. It's a risk to, all human beings. It's a risk to the entire area. We don't know what Shirogane's going to do once he gets his full power back. Really. So, once again, I think I expanded upon this a lot more than the chapter did, but I felt the need that it needed, like, hammering home, of this sort of idea. And we do move on to some other important topics, but there's also the fact that she brings up that we did check out Suzu's spirit energy, and we also confirmed that she is an Ayakashi medium. She is on the same wavelength power scale of the record that we show of May, the previous Ayakashi medium 150 years ago, and said that in every era, now this is sort of not retconning, but sort of changing up what we were supposed to know about the Ayakashi medium, is that they all die by the age of like 15, 16. They've all died. And it seemed to be a curse, like no matter what. But now it's more sounding like, it's just because in every era the Ayakashi medium has been ostracized by humans and inevitably has been killed by them. Like it's just super bad luck that humans are assholes. And that's not the way that it was spelt out when we first learned about that. That's not the way I took it. That's not the way anybody took it. So this description is really sort of retconning that, because I think they feel like changing that. It feels like a weak retcon to me right now, because it's like, no. The idea was that none of them live past this age because there's either a grand curse at work, there's something about the Ayakashi mediums and their bodies or something like that. They can't hold all that power for very long. They can't reach full maturity because then they just don't, or something. There was a deeper meaning in play. And the fact of the matter is that the Ayakashi mediums have been alive all this time and constantly killed no matter what. It's like, Jesus Christ, could one of them run away till they were 17? Like, seriously? So, I don't like this part of the chapter, because it's basically saying, we were going to read into a deeper meaning with that. Like, why do they only survive this long? And is it a curse? Is it a potential of their body? Is it fate? Is it a destiny thing? Is it a prophecy thing? No, it's really bad luck. For over 1,000 years of bad luck. That just seems so weak sauce to me. That seems weak as hell. I don't know. I'm a little salty over that, guys. A little salty. So she basically just keeps going on and saying, like, Now, when she regains, because she will eventually, remember, they will all eventually regain the memories of all their previous lives, right? So once Suzu remembers who she was and who she's always been throughout all the reincarnations, is she going to stay sided with the humans? Right now, she's actually king of the Ayakashi. And think about all the powerful people behind her. And they bring up like the Russian Snow Princess. They bring up Shirogane at full power. Garaku. They bring up all these people and just say, like, it would be an incredible if she decided to not stand with the humans and fight against us. Having all of them as our enemies would be a huge problem, like a huge challenge. And she's just sort of speaking out loud, and Matsuri is like getting more and more worried by all this like info dumping that his mother is basically pushing on him right now. And then in the end, she just pretends like they just play it off with an Ichi moment, but she's sort of hiding the fact that these are her real thoughts. These are things that none of you kids have thought about, and maybe you should. Like, maybe you should start thinking about this. So, yeah, that's the chapter. I thought that, as I said, the last half of the chapter was, super Ichi. But also, it brought us a lot of really good information and things for our main characters to think about. Things that I've talked about on reviews, but that haven't really been brought up in universe, and now that they finally have been. And that's really good. I really like that because we sort of needed it, I think. I think we really needed it. So that being said, guys, that's the review. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on the chapter. What did you think about the chapter? Like, comment, and subscribe. Yada, yada, yada. Plug, plug, plug. Shameless plugging. Shameless promoting. And we will see you guys back here next time for chapter 44. Thanks, guys, for watching. Peace out.